Post-game as NJIT defeats Hartford by a score of 62-42. And we're very excited to have Coach LT back with us. And Coach, 24 hours later, and you and I are talking with one another. So your team gets the sweep, takes care of business today. How excited was that locker room after this one?
Oh, well, you'll see footage, I'm sure. Coach Lane probably took a bath, I guess.
Well, that's great. So it's awesome, too, especially because of how, the season has been going. You guys have battled, you have fought, and to finally to get 2 wins back-to-back like this, how much of that effort do you feel like was finally rewarded with how well your team played these past 2 days?
Well, it's always difficult to play the same team back-to-back and with very little time to make any kind of adjustments and things like that. So for a young team like ours, to be dialed in the way that we were, and not just weather the storm of the first half, because we really had to weather the storm. Hartford, my hat goes off to Hartford because they were torching us, in the first half, and we just stayed steady. And I give our players credit for continuing to instill a lot of confidence in one another. Hey, next play, we'll get it back, those types of things. And, in the end, we didn't shoot very well in the first half. But, Grace was fantastic from beyond the arc. Ellen, as usual, and then the one that Kenna hit as well. So just all around, they were way more confident in what we were doing in the second half.
It's amazing, too, what it says about the character of your team, especially because of that after that first quarter where both teams were struggling.
It was frigid in the first half.
It was frigid. I was about to say, did they turn down the temperature here in this place? Because it was as cold as ice in here. But your team was able to stay with it. When Hartford at one point, they went up 9-6, and then it seems like a light switch went on after that. What was the message, whether it was what you guys talked to them prior to the start of the second quarter, or as you kind of saw the play continue, what was really being pressed upon your team that eventually it showed for them to get out of the early funk and able to score some points?
Well, first of all, we had to be sharper. Yeah. And I think out of all of our shots in the first half, I think we shot something like in the teens, like 15 threes out of 20-some-odd shots. That was a lot. Oh, yeah. So focusing a little bit more on getting the ball into the paint, being able to play from the inside out, I think helped us a lot. And that's the reason why our three-point shooting percentage went up, because we shot less of them. And, you collapse the defense. But, we also had some problems in the first half with the transition. And when you shoot a lot of threes, you get a lot of long rebounds, and a lot of long rebounds are actually the start of a fast break for the other team. So when we took care of that and started moving the ball around and getting the ball inside, that helped.
Tell you, I know you mentioned some of the players already, but I did want to ask you about Lyzi Litwinko. It's amazing.
Who is she?
I know. Who is she, right? I was about to say, right? Who is this player that you and your team recruited here? She has been sensational so far. A double-double today, and not only, the points are one thing, but I know she was able to rebound very successfully in high school. And because of that, now it's starting to translate here at the college level. A double-double for her today. How much is that from talent to effort, and for her, what we're seeing today? How excited for you to see her continue to grow here?
Well, Lyzi has a motor that goes on forever and ever. I mean, she's probably one of the most in shape kids that I've ever coached. She has a student's mentality about the game. She listens. She's extremely coachable. I love coaching her, and she's a total team player. I mean, there are times when I want her to score the ball, and she finds people. I don't know how she finds them, but she's a great teammate. She's great to be around, and she's a funny kid too.
No, she was great, especially when we talked to her post-game live on the air. She was sensational, as always. And, Ellen, too, and obviously you mentioned about Grace, especially because of those two and with their ability to shoot the three. And, with Grace, with her hitting 4 3-pointers and starting to find her groove a little bit. Your perimeter game continues to be strong here, one of the best here in the America East. And it seems like larger part of it, well, those two are able to do game in and game out. Yes,
and Ellen has been a tremendous leader for our team. Couple of timeouts there. I mean, because Hartford was subbing in, and we had to figure out who was a post, who was a guard, and that type of thing. And I just sat down. I said, Ellen, you get everybody matched up. You know what the best matchups are, so I trust you. And then she took over with that, and I think also that helped calm everybody else down as well on the team. So,
Tell you, obviously after 2 wins, a lot to be excited about, but I'm sure you and the rest of the squad want to work on some things in preparation for this next matchup at Stony Brook. Is there anything that can continue to be improved upon here going into next weekend against Stony Brook?
Oh, absolutely, all the time. by no stretch of the imagination are we where we want to be. Passing is always a thing for us, and then offensive execution. Defensively, I would say we've been doing a pretty good job of carrying out and executing the scout. So we rebounded the ball pretty well this weekend. We do have to box out better. So yeah, there are some things that we definitely need to do better, and most of the time it's nothing big. It's always the small things that make the biggest difference.
Well, Coach, always a pleasure getting a chance to talk with you. And folks, Coach lived up on her promise. She brought me some socially distant hugs today.
We are socially distancing,
distancing here. Hugs right there between the 2 basketballs.
I'm giving my guys some hugs here.
Exactly. She said if hugs would be rewarded if NJIT took care of business and won both games. And she's a woman of her word, so definitely appreciate it.
Oh, I appreciate you.
So,
Thank
Coach,
you for having me.
My pleasure anytime. Look forward to doing this again, hopefully later this season.
Will do.
All right, folks, that's Coach LT.